Hi. Thanks for being here tonight with me for the gift of stillness. So, I don't know if you have this problem when you do Facebook Lives. I'm going to grab my tea. But for some reason, when I'm trying to do Facebook Live, sometimes it tells me that I have to rotate my phone. And it happens a lot, and it annoys me. And if anybody knows the magic answer to that problem, please let me know, because it's so annoying. Anyhow, there may be some of you tonight who are new to this virtual retreat, and I thank you for being here and thank you for watching. If you are new, say hello, let me know where you're from. And always, if you have any questions or any comments, please put them in the the chat or in the comment box, and I will try to get to them if I can. But anyway, just say hello, because it's nice to know when people are there watching, and so I'm not just talking to my screen. So we over the last few weeks have been reviewing and talking about fears and courage and compassion. And I want to just kind of make a little bit of a circle back to courage, because I had a conversation actually with somebody about the word courage, and I've been doing a little bit of research about the word courage, and the Latin root origin of the word courage, because everybody thinks of courage as bravery and more like a verb of action and fighting and not necessarily physical fighting, but sometimes, yes, physical fighting and military and sometimes in that way, battle almost. And the Latin root of the word courage comes from a word that I can't pronounce, but C-O-R is part of the original root of that word, courage, and it has to do with the word heart, your heart. And it originally had meaning that was more or less, and I'm being sort of, I'm taking liberty with the translation here, but it had to do with speaking one's mind and telling the story from one's heart. And when we think of the word courage now, contemporary word or translation of the word courage, we don't think of that at all. But when you sort of step back and think about telling one's story from your heart, that sure as heck does take courage. And so I think when you consider the original Latin root translation and meaning of that word, they were spot on. They really were spot on with that. And I think that many of us don't stop to consider our story sometimes, because we feel that maybe we would be embarrassed, or maybe we would be ashamed, or maybe we're holding back a fear to tell the story that's really deep in our heart. And we don't have that courage. And so I just am posing a question to you tonight. Do you know your own truth? Do you know your innate story from your heart? And do you have within you the courage to tell your story to others, to share your story to others. Whatever that story may be. And I'm not talking about like really super personal stuff here. Nobody wants to know that. That's like TMI. Nobody wants to share that or be involved in that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about, hey Sarah, I'm talking about things like maybe what brought you to the point of where you are in your life. And like for me, people often ask me, what brought you to yoga? And, you know, I am very open and truthful with how I got to yoga. And, you know, it's a story from my heart. And it takes courage to share that story because there are parts of it that are not easy to talk about for me. There are parts of it that are difficult to talk about. And, but I am very willing to share it to somebody who truly wants to listen and truly is curious and wants to know. And, and I think that's where you have to face the fear and have the courage to speak one's mind and tell the story from one's heart, the true Latin root meaning of the word courage. And again, rolling back around with everything that we've been talking about in our last few meetings, facing your fears, finding the courage to step out and take action beyond those fears, whatever they may be, and not judging yourself for whatever those fears are, and just moving beyond them. And then being compassionate with yourself. Because if you're not compassionate with yourself, then it's very difficult to move beyond the fears and take that courage and take that step. Because then you're always wondering what people think and what you think they're thinking. Whether or not they're thinking it or not, you always have that little bit of self-doubt and that little bit of worry and that little bit of maybe embarrassment or shame. And that's what you have to let go of. So our focus tonight, obviously, is courage again, but in a different perspective. The courage to tell your own story from your heart. And I'll just share a little bit with you tonight about how I came to yoga. I came to yoga from a corporate world. I had a very successful and wonderful job that I thought I loved very much, and I did love very much to a point. And then I reached a point where I knew it was time to make a change, and came to a new life in a different state, knew nobody, had no job, and really became isolated and anxious, and felt myself going in a very downward spiral. And knew that if I didn't do something, I was going to end up in a bad place. And that's when I got my butt to a yoga studio. And yoga was something that I had always wanted to do when I was in my corporate job, but never had time to do. I had no time for self-care, none whatsoever. You know, when you're working 60 or 70 hours a week, hey Ramona, when you're working 60 or 70 hours a week in a corporate job, you have no time for self-care. So when I finally had nothing but time on my hands, too much time on my hands, too much time to think about not good things for certain, I got my butt to a yoga class, which I should have done long ago, years before. And it was love, immediate love at my first Shavasana. And I just kept going and going and going. I would go to yoga class 4 or 5 times a week. And before I knew it, I got certified And I got certified not knowing that I would ever teach. As a matter of fact, I got certified thinking I would never teach. And, but I ended up teaching, just substitute teaching shortly after I got certified. And then several months after I got certified, I ended up taking a group of yogis on a retreat to Cortona, Italy. It was just like a boom, 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 boom. Things happened. Things have slowed down, of course, and you know, you get into a routine, but I know that within my heart, I want to help people through yoga who are going through change, who are sort of on a path where they don't know if they want to be there or if something has happened in their life and they just feel misguided, misdirected, whether it be through loss of job, divorce, empty nest, whatever it may be. That is my calling, and that is where my passion leads me. And that's my story through my heart. And I'm sure you all have one too. And what you have to do is have the courage to tell it to the world, and not be embarrassed and not feel like somebody's going to judge you or somebody's going to tell you that having a dream to do something is stupid or silly or wrong or anything. Tell your story. Believe in your story. Believe in your heart. Trust in your heart. Listen. And the only way that you're going to listen and hear it is by being still. Be still every day for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, if that's all you have time for. Be still, and you will hear it talk with you. Listen, and it will lead you in the right direction. All right. So, obviously, courage and your heart story. So, our crystal grid tonight is all about the heart and courage. And I have an image for you. Here it is. Whoops. So we start with rose quartz as our focus crystal in the center. And then we have blue lace agate. We also have bloodstone. We have clear crystal points. We have carnelian, and then we have crystal tumbles. And the intention that I set for us tonight with this crystal grid is for us over the next 2 weeks until we meet again, is for us to find courage, the type of courage that is originally from the root of the Latin language. I'm going to read something here from you. The earliest form meant to speak one's mind by telling one's heart. So that's what this is all about. This crystal, this crystal grid right here. That is our intention for the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks, okay? And I will leave this here in my studio for us, and I'll post a picture of this in our group so that you can all look at it and maybe meditate about what this intention is. And I'll post what the crystals are also in our group. So some essential oils that are also good for your heart chakra and also for courage. A few that I have tonight with me. Okay, I always talk about lavender. I know, lavender is a master oil. You can't go wrong ever, ever, ever using lavender. But a few others that I have here, and I know I've spoken about this one before, joy. Joy is just joyful. There's no other way about it. You can almost wear this as a fragrance. It's just very uplifting and very motivating. It's just a lovely, lovely blend of fragrances. And then these two, Valor, this one's all about courage. This is just going to make you strong, going to motivate you, and just keep you brave. And then this one, Envision, This smells fantastic too. And unfortunately, I didn't have time today to look up what is in this. This one is all about how you envision your future. And that takes courage. And that takes positivity. And this smells wonderful. So what you can do, I'm going to use this one tonight for my practice. What you can do with this is place a drop or two, rub between your palms, cup, and inhale. You can also place some on the back of your neck. You can place some on your temples if you like. And you can also place a drop or two on the top of your crown. That's also a great place to place a few essential oils. Just sort of separate your hair a little bit and place some drops right directly onto the scalp. So I'm going to just rub this on the back of my neck. Oh, I wish you could smell this. It smells wonderful. And also remember that if you would like to put oils on your feet before you go to bed, that's a great idea, especially lavender. Right before you go to bed, helps you rest and relax. It's a wonderful thing to do. There's another one called Release. It's also very good for the topic tonight. Helps release negativity from you and release anything that may be stressing you out or sort of weighing you down. And rub that onto the bottoms of your feet before you go to bed. Wonderful. I actually... this may be TMI, but when my mother was very ill towards the end of last year, I was really having difficulty sleeping and dealing with a lot of negative emotion, and I put that on the bottoms of my feet right before I went to bed, and it definitely helped me. All right. So we're going to do a heart-opening yin sequence tonight. And we're going to start off with a little bit of breath work. And I'm going to take a sip of my tea, my yogi throat tea. I have a frog in my throat tonight. See if there's anybody else here. Oh, hi, Marlene. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you here in a while. I missed you. Okay, so we're going to go onto our mats. And let's see. We will need pillows. If you have a bolster, that's great. Oops, can't see my head. And maybe a block if you have it. And again, I've always been pumping for blocks from like TJ Maxx or I don't know, Kohl's or someplace like that. They're cheap enough. You can, or Amazon. You can get them on Amazon really inexpensively too. So. And I'm sorry again that this may be sideways for you. If anybody has the answer on that, how to get this thing not sideways when I record live, let me know, because it's been doing that a lot lately. All right, we're going to do the, let me go back a little bit. The 4-7-8 breath. So what we do is we inhale through the nose to a count of 4. We hold the breath for 7. And then we exhale through the mouth for 8. And remember, you're doing this with your tongue on the roof of your mouth right behind your 2 front teeth. Okay? So we'll start now. Inhale to a count of 4. Now you're going to hold for 7. And exhale, open mouth, tongue is still at the top. So it's 4, 7, 8. We're going to do 3 more, okay? And you can do them at your own pace. And then just breathe normally when you're done. So that breathing technique is like a tranquilizer for your central nervous system. It's one of the greatest ways to relax. You're under stress, you're feeling anxious, you're having a hard time sleeping, whatever it is that's bothering you, that is putting you into a situation where you feel like you need to relax, do that breathing practice or pranayama 4 times. And it will automatically calm down your central nervous system and just bring calmness into your body. Don't do it more than 4 times, because it really does take practice to do it more than 4 times. If you're doing it daily, then maybe after you're doing it for a week or 2, then you can start to increase it a little bit. But it's not the kind of thing that you automatically want to jump in and say, oh, now I can do 10. You have to really just increase it little by little, okay? All right, so we're going to start off tonight in child's pose. And you can use a pillow, you can use a bolster, you can even use a block if you want. I'm going to move my mat just a little bit so you can see the top of my head a little bit better. Sorry, you got my rear end view. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, if you have a bolster, you can use your bolster and come. Knees are mat width apart, you're sitting on your heels, your toes are touching, and you can fall forward on your bolster like that. If you have pillows, because I know not everybody has bolsters, you can use a pillow, same thing. We're not going to use a block here unless you are the type, some real bendy people like to do this. And that's okay if you prefer to do that. But we're going to be in child's pose for about, I think I made it worse. You're going to be in child's pose for about 4 minutes. So, as always in yin yoga, if any of you are new to yin yoga, you are finding a place in the pose where you can feel sensation. You do want to feel sensation. This is not restorative yoga. You want sensation, but you want to be able to hold the pose longer so that you are working deep tissues. Okay, this is not a regular flow class where you're just moving like dance-like and you're working your muscles. Here we're working deep tissue, the joints, the ligaments, the tendons, the bones, the fascia. And so you're holding the pose for anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, and that is the only way that you can get into the deep tissue. All right? So I'm going to start the clock. You pick the way that you want to position yourself and that you comfortably feel the edge, but don't overextend the muscles so that you're feeling pain. If your head is turned to one side, I'll let you know when it's time to turn your head to the other direction. All right. We are started. if you have your head turned to one side, now's the time to switch and turn it to the opposite direction. Slowly bring yourself up off of the bolster or the pillow that you're using and just move it off to the side. We're going to keep our legs in child's pose position. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to do a shoulder twist. So you're going to just lift the right arm up in the air and then thread it through underneath the left arm and come down on that right shoulder. Drop your head and then bring the left arm straight up to the top of the mat. We'll be here for about three minutes. Now use your left hand to bring yourself back up. And then you can place your right hand on the floor, and we'll lift the left arm up to the ceiling and thread it underneath the right arm. Come down on the right shoulder, the left shoulder. Stretch the right arm towards the top of the mat. And then again, we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. Now use your right hand to push yourself up. Bring your knees to center. And if it feels good for you right now, you can do a couple of cat-cows. So just make sure your knees are directly underneath your hips, nice and parallel here. Your wrists are right underneath your shoulders. Your fingers are splayed. Take a nice inhale. Bring your belly button towards the floor. Look up, inhaling, and then exhale. Belly button towards the ceiling like a mad cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Try to keep your shoulders away from your ears. And then rest on your belly, on your mat. You can rest your head on your hands. Maybe rock your sacrum a little bit. And just rest. Good. So bring yourself back up to your knees. Our next pose is going to be a supported camel. Now I know you can't see my head and there's nothing I can do about that. So we're going to use a bolster or a couple of pillows for this. A bolster will give you more support. I'll show you with a bolster first. You're going to stay on your knees. And you're going to put the bolster right. I have to move over a little bit. Thing is in the way here. Right over the heel area, back of the legs, calf. And you're just going to come back. You're going to tilt your head back. Bring your shoulders back. So you're stretching out your rib cage. This is a back bend. You may feel this in your quads. Now I'm going to show you also, if you're using pillows, you may want to use 2 pillows. It depends upon how flexible you are and how firm your pillows are. So you're going to do the same thing, coming down on those pillows. You don't want to feel any pain in the knees. No zinging or electrical in the knees. You will feel stretching in the quads. You feel stretching in the rib cage, and you'll have a nice back bend. This is a nice heart opener. We'll only be here 3 minutes. If you can't handle it, release a little bit, use one hand. You don't have to do it so, or just bring your fingertips back. You don't have to go all the way down. Just do fingertips. The thing about yin, and you can start. I'm going to talk a little bit. I try not to talk too much during a yin practice because it is rather meditative and introspective. But I do need you to understand that when you're practicing yin, every single person's body is structured differently. We all have different skeletal structure. And because of that, our joints are different. Everything's different. And some people feel that when we're all in a pose, we should all look the same. Totally impossible. And what you have to do is you have to accommodate the pose for what your body can do. And of course, as you practice yoga more often and you move your body more often and you stretch more often, you will, of course, improve in your technique, and you will probably master some poses better than others. However, if your joint structure in your hips has your hips splayed out this way, your legs splayed out this way, and some people's are more this way and some people's are more down directly, it will totally impact the way your poses look and your ability to do certain poses. And that's so true for every joint in your body. So, a lot of guys, their hips are so different than women's because women give birth. And so there's certain things that will always be different. And you just have to remember that when you're doing a pose, you have to accommodate for the fact that your body may be different than the person next to yours body. And don't compare yourself. Don't ever compare yourself. Remember that you do what your body is telling you that you can do without pain, without zinging feelings, without electrical feelings. And remember that more practice brings better ability, but you can't change your bone structure. All right, so if you manage to survive supported camel, just bring yourself upright and push away the bolster or the pillow or whatever you were using. And then bring yourself down on your booty, stretch your legs out in front of you, and then lay down on your back for a minute of Shavasana. Good. Use your elbows to bring yourself back up. And then we're going to sit. I'm turning to face you. Okay, you're going to sit in shoelace. So have your left leg on top of your right. Try to have your knees directly over one another. And your toes pointed back. Okay? So knees directly over one another as best you can have. Toes are pointed back. Nice straight back. You're going to take a deep breath. And then you're going to inhale, fold forward. You're going to keep your sits bones on the mat. You're going to relax that head. Relax the neck. We're going to be here for 3 minutes. make sure that your jaw is relaxed. Your face is relaxed. Make sure weird little places in your body are relaxed. Your toes, your fingers. Slowly bring yourself up. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Just sort of shake them out a little bit. And now we'll do the opposite way. The left leg is on the bottom, right leg on top. Try to have both knees over one another. You may find that it doesn't work the same way when you have the right over the left. Toes are pointing back. Make sure your sits bones are both flat on the mat. Nice deep breath. Fold forward. Relax the head, relax the neck. Slowly bring yourself up. And again, stretch out your legs and just shake them out. So from here, we're going to move into melting heart. So you're going to get onto all fours. You have your knees directly underneath your hips. And then you're going to move your arms forward so that your elbows are straight. And this is a little bit different for everybody depending upon the length of their arms. And you sort of want your hands towards the corners of your mat. And then you bring your head and chest towards the mat. Now, you may want a pillow or a bolster. This is a very, it can be for some people a very intense shoulder stretch. So you may want something to support you here. Or if it gets uncomfortable, you can come down on your elbows. But you want to keep that booty up in the air, okay? We'll do this for 3 minutes. Bring yourself back up on 12 fours. And then stretch yourself down on your belly and rest. Now roll yourself over onto your back. And if you have your 2 pillows, you want to grab those. We're going to, our last pose tonight before Shavasana is a supported butterfly. So you're going to put those pillows behind you, up against your sacrum, and then you're going to just come down. So you're going to have the soles of your feet together, knees bent, and they come down on your pillows. If you're using a bolster, it would be the same thing. You're going to get more of a back bend if you're using a bolster, obviously. Hands are by your side. If you need support for your thighs and your knees, you can use either more pillows, or if you have blocks, you can put blocks underneath your knees. We're going to be here for 3 minutes, and then we'll head into Shavasana. stretch out your legs long. Just roll to your side a little bit and move the pillows or the bolsters out from underneath you. And then come back down onto your mat and find your Shavasana. Take a nice deep breath through your nose and gently sigh it out through your mouth. One more time, through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Last one, inhale, sigh it out. Begin to bring movement back to your body. Maybe move your head from side to side. Roll your ankles. Maybe wiggle your toes, your fingers. And then hug your knees into your chest. Roll a little bit, massage your sacrum. Massage your spine. And then roll yourself over to one side and rest for a moment. And consider our message today, courage. Courage to tell the story of your heart. Courage to listen to your heart, to hear your heart, to find stillness, and follow your heart. To let go of the fears and not worry about the judgments or the embarrassment. Most of it's just imaginary anyway. Most people are so into themselves they don't even take the time that you think they're spending thinking about you. Remember that. So don't hold yourself back. Don't hold yourself back from your dreams or your vision, or whatever it is that you really want to do, what your heart is telling you to do. Trust your heart. Know your truth. Be your truth. Thank you, everybody, for being with me tonight. I have to see who's all here. There's bunches of people. Yanni, Susan, Margaret, Prima? I'm not sure how you say your name. I'm sorry. Bunches of people. Thank you so much. And I know you all have a story, and I know you all have a truth. Follow it, listen to it, believe it. Thank you again. Om Shanti. Peace to you all. Bring your hands to your heart. Gently close your eyes. My wish for you tonight is courage to tell the story of your heart, to know your own truth, to trust your heart. I wish you peace. I wish you joy. Namaste. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And again, sorry that the thing is sideways. I'll try to figure it out for next time. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.